Let me start by welcoming everyone here today. Particularly glad to see our county council here. Without them, none of this would be happening, and particularly glad to have our president here, Bullock, and a friend of law enforcement in the back there, George Smiley, who chairs our finance committee. This is a wonderful day. When you have a coalition like this made up of the county, Delaware State Police, Wilmington Police, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Drug Enforcement Unit, U.S. Marshal, Probation and Parole, Delaware Army National Guard, and the Delaware Attorney General's Office operating on this task force, great things are going to happen, and great things are going to continue to happen. Instead of our good acting chief having to carry the ball for Wilmington, well over 90+% of the drug users live in the county. It's just like a funnel. With this kind of enforcement, we can stop it dead in its tracks. So the commitment we have today is if you live in the county and you're selling drugs in the county to the city, or you're buying drugs in the city, we're going to come after you. We're going to own your car, possibly your house, and you're going to go to jail. This isn't going to end today. It's going to continue until we have eradicated the drugs going into the city of Wilmington or coming out of the city of Wilmington. It's an effort that's not going to end this month or this year until the mayor, until this chief says, thank you for the help, I need no more. They're doing a fabulous job in the city. I don't think we need to worry a whole lot about that. So we're going to do our part. And all I can say is I'm very proud of this group to come together. There's nobody taking credit. Together we're all going to do good things, and we're going to make this shootings and this drug problem come to an end with our assistance out here in the county. Let the city of Wilmington do what they can do and assist them. Thank you all.
Thank you, Executive Gordon. I'd now like to call the Newcastle County Chief of Police, Colonel Elmer Setting, and the Acting Chief of the Wilmington Police Department, Bobby Cummings, to the podium, please.
Thank you for coming out today. Strongly, we're send a message that criminals don't operate on jurisdictional boundaries, and we're here to say today that neither do we. As you see the insignias of the agencies that are involved in this operation, we're working together and will continue to work together in the city, in the county, and throughout the state. This operation that we did on Lancaster Avenue is just one of the operations that we'll be running throughout the year. This collaborative effort of information sharing, that the boundaries that people believe exist between the agencies is no longer there. We are strong partners, and not only are we partnering with law enforcement agencies, we're partnering with our community members at large, and we thank you for that. And Colonel Settings.
I notice there's quite a bit of information. We're going to run through it fairly quickly in regards to the two separate investigations, but I would be remiss if I didn't recognize our county executive and explain that as a former chief of police, he understands what we're facing, and he invests in public safety. I have not been told no on any request for any operation, equipment, or personnel since he took office, and I thank you, sir. Thank our council for the continued support, because it is that support that allows us to run operations like this, along with, and I have to jump on what Bob said, it is the continuing communication and cooperation between the agencies that are letting us run operations such as this. Now, there are two separate operations that occur. One is an ongoing investigation by the county police, our undercover drug control squad, and then the idea that there is a sense of lawlessness on Lancaster Avenue, and it is being used as a major drug thoroughfare into the city, into our county, and also into the state police's jurisdiction. The heroin map that we're going to put up here as we talk about this heroin investigation is very important, because you're going to note on that heroin map the 9 heroin-related overdoses that resulted in death, the 143 heroin arrests, and the 25 heroin-related overdoses where in many cases Narcan is a factor in saving the victim. It's important to point out that map is year-to-date. We are immersed in a heroin epidemic, and behind that heroin lies all of our property crime and problems, our gang-related issues, even the loosely affiliated gangs that are young kids shooting at one another in the city and in the county, and also all of the homicides, fighting over territory for these drugs, it's all tied to heroin. I have an aerial photo that you'll see of where this particular operation took place. The one that I worked in regards to just clean up Lancaster Avenue, that was done with Delaware State Police, the Wilmington Police Department. We brought the Attorney General's office in on the ground floor, had them approve the operation, had them approve the way we were approaching this so that the arrests don't go away, so that everything sticks. And we went after the low-hanging fruit, because when you stop petty drug dealers standing on the corner, you arrest the prostitutes, you arrest the johns, you arrest the pimps, it sends a greater and clearer message to the people that would commit greater crime. We're not going to tolerate it. Allowing that type of behavior sends a message. Sends a message to all criminals that this is a good place to operate, that it's a good board for them to do other and greater crime. When you take off the lower hanging fruit, I can assure you, you make it difficult for them to operate in the county and in the city. And they often are arrested, or they look for another place where they can flourish. The second operation, well, I'll stick with the first one and just go over some of the numbers. 39 people were arrested by the three agencies, 62 charges, a total of 23 felony charges, 39 misdemeanors. And to show that really nothing was being tolerated out there, 179 traffic citations were written. Again, the bad guys are driving cars, and this sends a message to everyone. We took a considerable amount of cocaine, marijuana, pills, and of course the overwhelming drug, heroin, off of the streets in that particular week that we were out there. The Silver Springs Apartments heroin investigation is separate. That's an ongoing investigation by our detectives that has gone on for over the last year. In conjunction with the DEA and the FBI, who not only supplied personnel but finances for us to do what we do, and I can't go too far into how an investigation like this works. It's part of our tricks of the trade, so to speak. But after a year of investigating, we were able to, while this other operation was going on, we were able to execute multiple search warrants on Mariella Drive and Simcoe Lane, Rodney Drive, and Edgemore Apartments. So on the line of the city and the county and up north in Wilmington, again, the heroin out there is cheap, it's pure, and it's crossing any and all demographics. The single largest heroin seizure in the state that anyone seems to know of, and I checked with several people, this investigation brought us to taking in, and you can see it sitting up here, 13,558 bags of heroin, $41,000 and change in U.S. currency. And the disturbing part of that, folks, is this heroin is so cheap, somewhere around $5 for a bag of heroin. So you can go out to your local pub and a pint of beer costs more than a bag of heroin. And that's a concern. So to echo the county executive, we have no choice but to stop this in its tracks. And if these are the types of operations and investigations we have to do that, so be it. We have more coming, and Bobby and I are, as well as Nate McQueen, who couldn't be here today, but Colonel McQueen was involved in this investigation and invested in this investigation, as well as the operation. It is that type of cooperation that is occurring, and that's how we are bringing these guys to their knees. Believe me, that's a lot of heroin to go missing all at once out there in the streets. Some of the handguns will be put up on the screen for you. We are obviously running ballistics and forensics on these weapons, as we believe. We are quite confident you're going to find that they're involved in other crimes, but I can't go into details. As a law enforcement agency, we acknowledge, this is an ongoing heroin epidemic. We recognize that drug addiction is an illness. We are making great attempts at educating the next generation about the perils of heroin. We do have a heroin alert program we offer to all of our schools, to any community groups. It is a very sobering and scary program, but it gives the children, our next generation, an idea of what they're looking at if they're going to go down the road of heroin. We know we can't just arrest our way out of this. We also can't tolerate the petty crime on our streets day in and day out that leads to the shootings, that leads to this type of drug dealing in our community. So we also have a prescription drug drop-off box out in our lobby. That is to, our citizens are stuck with these prescription drugs that they no longer use or need, and they often don't know what to do with them. And there's this giant segue between these prescription drugs and kids getting on heroin. They eventually run out of the drugs. They can't access the drugs. So heroin at $5 a bag, it seems like the likely recourse. And if we can educate them, we can get these drugs off the street, that, you know, grandmom's back pills or whatever it may be, if we can put them in this box, we'll get rid of these drugs for you. Most people don't know what to do with them. You're not supposed to pour them into the water system. So we've given you another avenue to get rid of these prescription drugs. We are actively going after all of the people that may be connected to the mugshots that you go up on this screen. We are going to continue to track this heroin problem. As a matter of fact, I met with the FBI today and agreed to put a police officer inside the FBI's Violent Crime Task Force. These are force multipliers. We have officers inside the DEA. We have officers inside the FBI, or at least we will, the FBI in the very near future. We're going to continue these efforts. We're going to make a difference. We're going to give you a better and safer place to live. Thank you.